Hello, friends. Welcome to today's Cichlids and Coffee. I hope wherever you are, you're having a cup of your favorite brew. I'm having iced coffee because I am extremely warm right now from running all over Nashville. And I'm going to share with you in today's live stream why I was running all over Nashville. How's the AV? Give me an AV check there, folks. How's the sound? How's the picture? I have two things for you, two very special things. I have a video, which I made for you. Just shift this over a little bit. There we go. I have a video I made for you, and I have a special surprise announcement that I didn't know about last night, until late last night. And it had me driving all over town today. So stay tuned for that special video and a very exciting and very special announcement. If you're new to this channel and you like the content, please be sure to hit that sub button. And also, if you are subscribed, be sure to check, because I understand that YouTube has been, from time to time, arbitrarily removing subscriptions. So check it out. Make sure that you really are subscribed and hit that thumbs up and that bell. Very, very appreciated. And a special shout out to my wonderful moderators, best on YouTube. And also to all of you who take an hour out of your Saturday to sit in. And, of course, to the channel sponsor, the Cichlids Shack in Tempe, Arizona. If you want quality fish, supplies, food, anything, really, he's got it. And the cichlidshack.com. Use Shack Attack 15 for fish orders over 100. And use Shack Attack 10 for food and other fish keeping products. The shipping, of course, does not get included in that discount. He simply passes the cost of shipping to the buyer. So also a very big shout out to the Patreon members. The information about Patreon is in the it's underneath every one of my videos. And these are what I call the Patreon founders. And I'll move it over so it's not right in my face. These are the founding Patreon members. Very, very appreciated. Without their support, a lot of what I do would not have been possible. So become a monthly Patreon supporter if you'd like to. It's as little as $3 a month. And the last two bill-paying commercials. If you visit Amazon, be sure to use the Amazon link to get there. Anything you buy on Amazon will give a credit to the channel. And if you want some t-shirts and sweatshirts and all kinds of channel swag, go to the Teespring store and pick some of that good stuff up. And that's it for commercials and paying the bills, I promise. So it looks like somebody came in right off the bat. Carrie. Hey, Carrie. Thank you for that, my friend. Very, very appreciated, and a good morning to you as well. More people are coming on. Let's give those sleepyheads a chance. You know, I moved this a little bit later to 11 a.m. so that folks on the West Coast could come in. They were complaining about how it was too early. So, I know, some of you stay up late Friday. I get it. Hey, Jerry's in the house. Cichlid Kings. Very, very cool. A couple moderators. And moderators are just folks who make sure that that everybody stays respectful and polite and professional. Hey, Denny. Denny's in the house, another moderator. And I don't see GP. Maybe GP will be here. Not sure. Sometimes he listens as he drives. And Vibes Aquatics sometimes gets busy on Saturdays. And Ginger. I don't see Ginger. All right. Well, we have several moderators, and that's awesome. For those of you who don't know, a super chat is a way for you to throw a little money at the channel. And that's what I was talking about when I mentioned thank you to Carrie for a super chat. So it's been a lot of fun here in the fish room this week. I was able to move some fish around to their new homes. I'm going to show you that in a video that I put together. Just a video of a walkthrough. And I have some very exciting news. I'm going to have to turn the camera around to show you, but it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So let's start off with that video, that special video. And let me go ahead and cue that up for you. And during the video, you can, of course, chat, make comments, and of course, let me know what you think. And let's go ahead and roll this video entitled, They're Loving Their New Home. Hello friends, let's do a walkthrough of the fish room, give you an update and show you how some of these fish are really loving their new home. Some of these fish are in aquariums that you're not aware of. Let's go ahead and take a walk through the fish room and take a look at what's going on in here. I'm pretty excited. Let's go. So first off, these aquariums here, this one here, this 55, has a Cory and this armored cat down here. Really cool fish. When I put my hand in the tank, he lets me pet him. At any rate, he's very cool. And that tank, along with the tank next to it, this tank right here, these tanks are clean and ready for new fish. So James Largo at the Cichlid Shack, if you're watching, I'm ready. Go ahead and ship them out, my friend. Hopefully I'll have some little Oscars in here, maybe some little Oscars and some red spotted Severums possibly, and we'll see what South American, Central American fish I end up with there. And in this tank, I want to quarantine some African cichlids, preferably a Buccochromis noditania, a Fusco, possibly another Coengi, a couple fish like that I've had my eye on and that I'd like to get a hold of. They'll go into this tank. I might not need the divider. I'll probably take the divider out since I had it in there for a different purpose. But we'll see. We'll see what arrives and go from there. In this tank, as you can imagine, I have this SunSun 704B here. I'm going to be doing a video on setting that up because it's going to be going onto the 210 over here. We're going to be putting that SunSun 704B. The 210 is doing great. You can see all the fish in here, and they're just having a good old time with all the extra space. You can see the chocolates and the Big Vieja, Nicaragua. Salvini's hanging out over there by the rocks, and there's the Jack Dempsey. They're all clustered in this little area right here. I can draw them out probably if they think I'm going to feed them, but they're all doing great, having a good old time. They seem to be leaving the pleco alone. The pleco that's in there is doing fine, so I'm assuming they're just leaving him alone. So in the 300, you can see here, Everybody's looking great. That trout's amazing. Gave it a water change today. It's had a couple of water changes since I set it up. Just keeping a real close eye on the nitrates and just the overall condition of the tank being relatively new. Even though it does have some substrate and some limited material from the filter of the 210. Little 8-gallon. I have it dimly lit because I don't want all the incredible algae that's been growing in here. Maybe these 2 cherry barbs will lay some more eggs. I put this fake sea anemone in here thinking maybe it would be a good place for them to lay eggs. We'll see. There is a baby in there somewhere that somehow survived. Hopefully they'll have some more. This is the, some of you mentioned that this is your favorite tank. This is the 29. The rummy noses, doing great, schooling around. A lot of pagoda snails, green lasers, green laser cories, beautiful red serpas, lemon tetras. I got some new growth on that Anubias, on that wood back there. I don't know what kind of wood that is, but it seems to be turning into mush. When I go to touch it, it's real soggy. Whatever kind of wood that is, I don't recommend it. I went ahead and cleared some of the soil, some of the sand off of the roots of these plants. It looks like a little bit more came off. Maybe the fish moved it. But someone commented that I had the sand was too high on these plants. So I went ahead and lowered the level of sand, and I've added some fertilizer to the aquarium. You can see that keyhole cichlid back there. Never had such a lazy, shy fish in my life. But anyway, he's kind of cute, so I'll probably keep him. Here's old Mr. Mustard. Always comes up to greet me when he thinks I'm going to feed him. Great looking fish. I actually saw some beautiful bettas at a PetSmart that I went to. I got them on video, maybe I'll share them with you. But here's the tank where the biggest changes have occurred in the last few days. I thought about it, I compared the size and the temperament of the fish, and I decided to go ahead and put the electric blue Ochart, the firemouth, and the little green tear into this 90-gallon, and they seem to be getting along okay. There's that big electric blue Ochart. Just a big moose of an electric blue Ochart, very pretty. And the Suryaminensis, the Geophagus Suryaminensis, have really sort of blossomed since I removed the more aggressive fish. You can see just how they look, and they get pretty big, these Suryaminensis. They get up over 7 inches, maybe even larger. Here's the AC Hecali. He gets harassed by the geos a little bit. Very pretty fish. I'd like to get some more of them if I can. There's the firemouth asserting himself. But you can see the firemouth, how pretty he is. He looks prettier in this, on this substrate. He looks a lot better on this substrate than he did on a lighter substrate. It darkens him up, shows more of the red. So he looks prettier in here than he did in the other tank. And here's the green tear. You can see him. That little green tear, I don't know how he would have done in the 300. When you consider that the fish are like double the size of the Geophagus, he might have gotten pretty harassed in there. So at any rate, 90 looks good. Red shoulders back there hiding, being shy. He'll come out a little bit. That's the update. Oh, there he is. Very pretty fish. Some people feel he's the best looking fish in the 210. The Jack Dempsey and the Vieja don't like that opinion. So there's the update. Any questions, comments, be sure to share them in the chat or below the video if you're watching the replay. And things are developing, moving along nicely. And fingers crossed everybody continues to get along fine, and also that the fish that are coming in are going to work well with the existing stock. All right, so let's get back to the live stream. All right, hope you liked that. Now some of you, I think one of you was saying, where's the live stream? Sometimes I do include bonus content in the live stream that is pre-recorded. So, but here we are back again. We are live. And let's take a look at the conversation that's been going on here. And then I'm going to make the special announcement here. Let's go to the chat. And let's see what you folks have been talking about here. You know, I've never tried a tidal HOB. I do love my marine lands. Very easy to work with, very reliable. They just run and run and run like the Energizer Bunny. You do have to maintain that. You do have to maintain that media very frequently. I mean, it gets pretty they're so effective that you have to rinse out the media. This is why I suggest that you buy cartridges. I think the new ones come with the cartridges, but use reusable media in the, you should probably do that in all your HOBs. That would just rinse it out instead of buying the factory cartridges, which can be very, very expensive. Angelo in the house, Humble Rasta, love that name. Tony Punch is here. Sundar India, hello Sundar, and Angelo and is in the house. I am cruising the chat. Sherlock, love that name, Sherlock. Hey Elizabeth, good to see you. Elizabeth Wagner in the house. James Green, welcome. And Exotic Plecos is here as well. Exotic Plecos 13. And Multifasciatus is also in the house. Hey, Emin. Good to see you, buddy. Emin Fountain in the UK. I think I saw somebody else from England. Let's cruise this chat and see what I see. JD in the house. Alien Aquatics. George Fernandez. Good to see you, George. Brandon's here as well. Let's see here. So some of you are saying it's a little dark. That's a little easy to fix. Hold on one second. Let me try checking something. Tell me if that's a little bit better, a little less dark. Just opened up the aperture a little bit on the camera. Let's see here. Going through the chat. Whip Swirl came in with a $6. Just a top carry with $1. And I mentioned in the chat, if you have the biggest super chat today and you're in the US, because of shipping, I've got to do it that way. But if you're in the US and you have the biggest super chat today, you will get a channel t-shirt. So there you have it. Biggest super chat today gets a channel t-shirt. Cichlid Kings comes in with a super chat. Thank you very much for that, John. L200 Pleco. I've seen some of those. They are gorgeous. You know, you'd hate to get one and then lose one. Because they're on the expensive side. Mexicali Fish Keeper. Buenos días, amigo. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo te encuentras hoy? And Brandon says he has a betta that looks exactly like Mr. Mustard. Love that betta. Really love that betta. He's really a good guy. Now, Peas and Haps Forever said I should put them all in the 210. Now, I'm talking to James, and he says, you know, they were all living together in the 90s, and nobody killed anybody. So he said, why don't you put them all in the 210 and let them work it out, and then let's turn the 90 into a cichlid tank. You can put a bunch of plants in there, put some more wood, some rasboras, some cardinal tetras, and I'll tell you, it sounds pretty tempting to have a beautiful discus tank. He's talking about converting this tank here into a discus tank. Now, most folks would probably prefer a tall, skinny tank for a discus tank. This one happens to be a large cube. But I don't know, I still think maybe 7 or 8 discus floating around in there would look pretty good. I mean, what do you think? You think I should throw all these guys in the 210 and turn this into a discus tank? Let me know in the chat or in the comments below if you're watching the replay. Now, did the picture correct? Is it a little bit better now? Is it not as dark as it was before? Let me know. Sean agrees with Peas and Haps. All right, we're putting it to a vote. Hey, Z-Zip. And hey, Jerry. Good to see you, Jerry. Okay, I'm going through the... Oops, let's see here. Fire mouths. Someone said a comment. Fire mouths to me are just too hyper. Tried them a few times, stressed the other fish out. That's Sean. Now, Sean, what about in a 210 gallon with a 6 foot across footprint and several fish that are much larger? Might keep that firemouth in check. So we'll see. We'll see. I am kind of leaning towards that idea. Hey, Deborah Moon. Love your name. Deborah Moon. Aquaball's in the house. Eddie Mendoza's here. And I saw Frank Vera as well. Buenos días, amigo. ¿Cómo te encuentras? And somebody just hit me over the head with a super carry. Carrie has laid down the challenge. So far, Carrie is in the lead for that free T-shirt. And I usually lose money on these because I buy them and I ship them, and then I end up losing money. But I don't care. It's fun. I love doing it. Chris G. Hey, Chris G. You got some grandkids. I tell you, grandkids are game changers. And hello to Chris G's grandchildren. I'm glad you're watching. Hope you become expert fish keepers. Sean says, no plants, man. Wood and rocks for discus. Just my 2 cents. Have discus destroyed plants for you, Sean? Have you noticed that they tear plants up? I'd be curious to know that. All right. Sean thinks that the 90 is fine for discus. All right. It looks like the tide is turning. So let's take a look at what happened last night. Last night, I get a call, actually a text, and this is the way it usually happens. I get a text, and the text just says, I need your address. And, I'm sure he has it somewhere, but they're right in the middle of filling out the air bill, and it'd be much faster if I can just send it to him. So I go, okay, what are you doing? And James says, I've got some fish for you and some dry goods, some goodies, and I'm sending them out. So he gets them on an airplane. They arrive at 2 a.m. this morning in Nashville. Of course, I can't pick them up until after 8 a.m. But here I am in the car, running over to the airport, make sure I get them back and get them acclimated and in the tanks in the least stressful possible way. And I'm going to go ahead and show them to you. So I'm going to turn off some lights and turn the camera around and turn on the tanks that are directly in front of me. So I'm going to be off camera for just a minute. Of course, that's probably when 10 people will come on to the live stream and go, oh, Ben's not here. But hold on, let me go ahead and do this. Cichlid Kings comes in with a super chat. Discus in the 90. Hey, I'm leaning that way. Is the picture better? Let me know if the picture's better. I know the sound is okay. Hold on. Let's see if they come out. And you can see them. Take a look at that red tiger Oscar. Got a red tiger, a lemon, and a couple red spotted severums. And that red tiger right out of the bag was just looking amazing. He's got a little O in the back of his body for Ochart. We also have an albino lemon in there that is absolutely epic. I think this is the best shipment, overall quality shipment I've ever received from James. Love that albino lemon. They don't seem that interested in the gold severums. I was a little worried at first, thinking I might have to put that 55 divider in there from Life with Pets, but I haven't had to do that. They're just keeping to themselves. Actually, kind of hanging out together, which is kind of funny. All right, let's go over to the next tank and the second half of the surprise. Got to turn this very gently because I'm turning cables. I don't want to disconnect the entire live stream. Go around the other way, just for the sake of the cables. Cusco, finally. Cusco. Christogaster, eye biter. A wingy in there. Right out of the bag, just about. I mean, I put them in there just about an hour ago. Absolutely gorgeous fish. Love that Fusco. All those guys are going to go into 300. I think if I put them all at once, put them in all at once, then dim the lights. There's a Buccochromis yellow. Buccochromis yellow in there. All right, turn the lights back on. That was one of the funnest trips to the airport I've ever had. And I love this combination of fish that James sent. those Oscars are off the chart. I don't think I could have picked nicer Oscars. And the fish that are the African cichlids he sent, every one of them is a gem. And every one of them is big enough so that once they start to eat well and look comfortable, they can go into the 300. I'm going to be able to do that without any hesitation. So again, Grand Slam, James, if you're watching, you hit a Grand Slam. And if you folks want quality fish, check out thecichlidshack.com and be sure to use those discount codes. Whips World, throwing rain on my parade. African cichlids are not for everybody. They are not for everybody. I've said that in many videos. But I tell you, I'm enjoying the South and Central Americans. I'm enjoying them, I would say, as much as the African cichlids. I'm just love watching them interact. They seem to be a lot more mellow and just a fun fish. So, all right. So, peas and haps forever. Again, James knocks it out of the park. Great looking fish. Yep. Exceeded my expectations. He also has he has community fish. He has everything now. He's not just about cichlids anymore. He's got a lot of other stuff there. Luke Biba, love those Severums. I do too, Luke. One of my favorite fish for sure. And Frank thinks the Oscars are gorgeous. I agree, Frank. Beautiful, beautiful fish. And again, I think big enough already to where when they start eating, they're just a bit smaller than the chocolates that are in the 210. So I think they'll be ready to go into the 210 relatively quickly. Again, I'm cruising the chat. Salient Aquatics, what's the heaviest rock you put in a 75-gallon? Salient Aquatics, that really depends on, that just depends really on your comfort level in moving rocks in and out of a tank. Now, some people will use diffusers. There's ceiling light diffusers. They're those little checkerboard plastic diffusers. You put them under the substrate, and then when a rock drops down, it sort of absorbs and spreads out the shock of the rock. Sometimes that's a little better. Happening is the camera is being thrown off by the lights that go directly into the camera. So I'm going to turn this one off. All right. Hope that's better. So yeah, you can get those those ceiling light diffusers. Put that under the substrate, cover it up, and then you can drop some pretty heavy rocks. I've got some very heavy rocks that scared the living daylights out of me in the 210 here right next to me. And you know, if you saw that video, that those rocks started tumbling on me when the driftwood shot up into the air. And they rolled into the glass with a loud thud, and it just scared the heck out of me. So they're all like secure now and in a position where they can't really be rolled or pushed. You do have to watch out with some of these fish like the Salvini and the Vieja. They can dig so much that they can get a rock to destabilize and fall over. So just really be aware of that. If you're creating, rock caves and you're stacking up rocks, just be aware that they actually can move enough substrate so that you have a cave in. The Salvini created space in front of his cave in the 90-gallon, and a piece of that Mopani wood fell over and almost blocked the entrance. So just something to consider. You can also contact companies. I mean, you could go to big box stores. You can go to Universal Rocks. You can go to places like that. And hey, Gia, Aquatics and Pets. I don't get to everybody in the comments. Sorry about that. And thank you for that super chat. And hey, Vibes Aquatics, Vibes in the house, one of the moderators. At any rate, you can get, like, from Universal Rocks, pretty good looking artificial rocks, and they weigh nothing. So if they fall over, it doesn't matter. They just, I mean, literally, you can pick them up with one finger. Where the rocks in here are definitely a two-hand job. I don't know if I like the way that sounded. I have some rocks here in the 90, but these are really small and easy to handle. So not really a big deal. And they're comparable in size to the rocks that I have in the 210. I mean, I'm sorry, in the 300 behind me. So they're kind of comparable that way. All right. So Luke says you can use netting to pick up rocks. Boy, that would scare me. Luke, I mean, it would seem like you'd have almost like a hammock kind of a situation where the rock could rock, using two definitions of the same word, which is what drives people crazy about English. But yeah, it could rock maybe and hit but I don't know. Maybe if you're real careful, you move slow, you can make that happen. Desert Fish Keeper, what a great name. Why would anyone laugh at the phrase I'm not even going to say it. All right, so oh my goodness. Michael, literally overnight he filled your fish. Well, we've been talking about these fish for a long time, Michael. But when he is ready to ship, you've got to be willing to move fast. Unfortunately, I was in town and didn't have anything planned. And but I tell you, nothing beats overnight Southwest cargo. You know, he puts them in a flight, and the next morning there they are, and they're in my tank. And so it's it's just a great way to get fish. By the way, if we happen to lose power, I just heard some thunder. We get electrical storms here out of nowhere. So if we lose power, I'll try and get back on as fast as I can, just so you know. All right, I'm cruising the chat again here. Hey, Whips World, I get it. No worries, man. Some people don't like African cichlids. I'm just really glad that you still come to the channel. People still think my channel is all about African cichlids exclusively, and I've tried to diversify, so I'm glad you're here. Jerry says to get the quarantine done and move those Oscars. They are going to outgrow everything you have, so put them in the mix early. Lessens the potential issues. I'm going to follow your advice, my friend. I'm going to do that. Now, it was very interesting when I was in Ireland and I was talking to these people that were very, very knowledgeable about fish keeping. I mean, the owner is a marine biologist by training and education. And when I asked him about quarantine, he mentioned he had no set time. It wasn't 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 weeks. He told me his quarantine was to the point where the fish was responding well, looked good, good color, was eating well. And if it took a week or 2 weeks or 10 weeks, that's what he looked for. And until the fish started responding that way, they would not go into a show tank or a main aquarium. I thought that was very interesting. Now, what if you have a tank with several fish in quarantine. 3 of them are responding well and eating well, but 2 are not. Do you take those 3 that look good and put them in the show tank? See, I wouldn't do that because who knows what those other fish are carrying, right? So I would wait and until they're all rocking and make sure there are no one with clamp fins, no one that's refusing to eat. Make sure they're all active and interactive, and then go ahead and bring them over. So anyway, just different ideas about quarantine. I thought it was very interesting. Deborah Moon, I know if a few YouTube fish keepers who seem more set on their own methods, they don't mind sharing even their mistakes, but seems resistant to obtaining ideas or advice from any other creators. Deborah, my philosophy is the second you think you know it all is the moment you start becoming very stupid. So I always keep, I know what works and I keep doing what works, but I always have my ears open, right? And listening and getting ideas, and just sort of the way I've always been. Elizabeth Wagner, I love my green severum. Looks like he was getting, he was choking another fish. Had to pull it out of his throat. He's okay. Wow. Almost lost his head. That must have been scary. I tell you, whether the fish is classified as overly aggressive or not, the rule is if it fits in their mouth, it's probably going to go there, right? Cichlid Kings, the video is looking good. Okay, good. So the lighting corrected. I just had to, for those of you familiar with photography, use a different aperture. Had to open up the camera so more light could get in. So Mexicali Fish Keeper, 3/4 inch foam works for me. Let me see. All right, some people put foam, yeah, to pad the rocks. Fishaholic, I love the way that gravel, the pea gravel looks. No other real reason. And I wanted to put a little bit of a cover on the black and white aragonite that I left behind. And I know that the fish over time are going to mix it all up. And I think over time it'll start to take on a different quality. They've already started doing that. I've found large pieces of pea gravel on top of the rocks. So they've been picking up those big chunks of pea gravel and moving them. And so, like I said, they can create a cave-in. They can dig and create a cave-in. So just got to be alert. But yeah, they can move those big pieces of pea gravel. But yeah, it was mostly for the look. So I am cruising the chat again. Whips World, has a couple hundred pounds of aqua blue landscaping stone, not including the gravel. Pond padding under them. I'll use diffuser panels next time. Yeah, the diffuser panel tip was something I picked up from somebody in the UK. Or no, they were in Canada many, many years ago, and it just made sense. One word of caution is that sometimes detritus and waste and stuff can get in between the squares. So every now and then, maybe 2-3 times a year, you need to do a real deep vacuuming. And otherwise, yeah, if you're going to use heavy rocks, not a bad idea. Vibes Aquatics, no, I have never kept multis, never kept shell dwellers. Denny, if you're in the house, you want to talk to Vibes Aquatics. Denny loves his shell dwellers, loves watching them interact, and they breed like crazy because each one has a little home. So each one has a little homestead with that shell. So they feel economically stable and able to have children. Whips World, I've heard the same thing, that the green severums, And the one I had to rehome was a green Severum. And he was either being beaten up or beating up other fish. There was no in between with that guy. And so I ended up taking him over to the aquatic critter. I picked him up as a rehome fish from my friend John here in Nashville, the same person who gave me that buffalo-sized electric blue Acara. Sherlock, I don't make my own food, but I do use a combination of foods with protein and vegetables. I mix it up. And currently, I'm using Extreme. I'm using Cobalt. I'm using Piscine Energetics, and a lot of Sarah. So there's protein in there. There's vegetables in there, and I make a new batch like every week and a half. It's put together in a small container, and so they go through it pretty quick. Then I'll mix a new batch, and they love it. They just go crazy. Whips World, are you saying you're in first place now? Let's see here. Whips World. I'm looking for that Whips World super chat. I missed the second one. See Cichlid Kings. Whips. Oh boy. Okay. Whips World is all in for the t-shirt. Biggest super chat today gets a channel t-shirt of your choice from the Teespring store. And it looks like Whips World is in the lead with about what, 18 total dollars over 2 super chats. So there you go. All right, let's see here. Thank you, Vibes, telling everybody to smash that like button. Any other questions? Go ahead and ask them now. We're coming up on the hour. Hey, Brandon. Brandon in the house. Brandon, no, I don't feed all the fish the same blend because I put jumbo in there. Some of those big fella, the cobalt floating pellets, the big fella, and some of the Sarah green are pretty big. They're pretty big pellets. So those just go for the bigger fish, the 210 to 300. And then I use a combination of pellets and flakes, small peewee pellets and extreme flakes in the other tanks. Even in the new baby cherry barb, I just crush up some of the extreme flake. I just crush it up and drop it in there so it's like dust so that the little guy can have some. And sometimes I'll do the same thing with the 29 gallon. I'll just crush up some of that extreme. So no, everybody doesn't get the same thing. The South and Central Americans, they get a bloodworm treat, bloodworms, whereas the Africans will get frozen krill. And every now and then I'll go to the aquatic critter and I'll pick up live brine shrimp, and everybody gets brine shrimp, even the fish in the 29 gallon. I'll even throw a couple into the betta tank, and they all get brine shrimp as a treat. All right, let's see. Also, hikari, Cichlid Kins, you like hikari food? Uh-oh, someone just came in with a super chat. Let's see what's going on. Uh-oh, Eddie Mendoza. I think he throws his hat in the ring. Kerry ups it with 5, but I think Eddie just took the lead here. Guess I'll throw my hat in the ring for a shirt. Thanks for all the videos, Ben. You were the first channel I watched when starting the African cichlid hobby. Pleasure meeting you. Hey, Eddie, it's a pleasure meeting you as well. And very, very grateful for your support over the years. And let's see if you have the biggest chat. Night Rider in the house. Hey, Chris, starting a 125 with at least 1 Severum and 4 Geos. Tapajos. Someone told me Severums like to be in groups, which I didn't know. I was talking to James. He said Severums like to have buddies. So maybe put some more Severums in there. The Tapajos, I think you're good. Anywhere between 3 and 6 of those redheads. And I think Tapajos are gorgeous. One of my favorite fish. The way their tails, fins look. Of course, the red on the head. Gorgeous fish. Whip Swirl has a question about food. I have had some foods over the years that fish have just simply ignored or spit out. You either can keep trying, or you can mix it with a little bit of garlic guard. That should get them to eat it, and the garlic's good for them anyway. But sometimes you just got to toss it. I've had some foods over the years I just had to toss. And what GP says, hey, GP in the house. What GP says makes sense. Maybe mix something in there that they like, and they'll go ahead and pick it all off. That makes sense. Good tip from GP. Hey, did you folks see the video that Corey posted from visiting Goss, that aquarium store? I think it's in Germany. Absolutely unbelievable. Be sure to check it out. It was, forget the title of it, but you can't miss it if you go to the Aquarium CoOp channel. Absolutely, probably the most incredible fish store I've ever seen. And what's amazing about it is 3,000 tanks, 5 employees. Something like 5 employees maintaining 3,000 tanks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Talk about automating your systems. Peas and Haps Forever, growing out 2-star sapphires, gorgeous fish. VC10, albino eye biter, a white knight, 2 yellow OBs, 2 stunning tetrastigmas. Peas and Haps, I really hope that they end up getting along. If you raise them up from smaller fish, maybe they will. But a couple of them in there, especially the albinos, and even the VC10s, they have a history as being a little bit on the testy side. But yeah, maybe they'll work. You know, if people look at the fish in here and they don't think that this should work, they don't think that this tank should be as peaceful as it is. But somehow it all works. There it is, Cichlid Kings, most amazing African cichlid facility in the world. That's the name of it. Sean says my green Severum was great. Gia Aquatics and Pets has a jaguar. Man, those jaguars are the real deal. Hey, Carrie. Carrie, does that put you over? I need I need the moderators to do the math and tell me who now has the lead. Did Carrie just take the lead, or is it still is Eddie have the lead? Let me moderators give me a running total, please. Yes, Deborah Moon. That, when you think 3,000 aquariums and 5 employees, and every tank looked absolutely pristine, absolutely pristine. And I know how much time I spend in the fish room taking care of these tanks. So you know they have a lot of stuff just working off of apps or just super automated, where you don't even have to think about it. You see all the different ideas we're getting here, even on the green Severum. Some people have had them that are jerks, and I'll tell you, you get fish that have their own attitude. I don't know if it's the way they were bred, their own sort of genetic background or whatever, but some are mellow, and some are just jerks. And you get the same thing with African cichlids, which is why I think this tank is the way it is, because what I did is I just started pulling out the killers, right? If you go back to my early videos after arriving here in Nashville, I would give them a little bit of a chance, but I was pretty quick to move on pulling the killers out. And little by little, I called it, ended up with a group of fish that don't have it as their life mission to kill anything within 10 feet. So it worked out. Eddie, my last throw. Okay, I think Eddie's in the lead, and the for the t-shirt, one free channel t-shirt, well, not free, but the biggest super chat, and Whips World. Okay, what does that put Whips World at? Hey, John, are you keeping track? Did Whips World just pass Eddie? Eddie's at 25. So yeah, we got 25, go ahead, 20, do I hear 26, 20. Oh my goodness. I've got to get Whip, what's your total? What's your total so far, Whip Swirl? I know Eddie's got 25. That was his last throw, though. I love you guys. All right. So, any questions? Go ahead and ask your questions now, and then I'll answer a few questions, and then we'll go ahead and let you folks go enjoy your weekend. Go ahead and hit me with your questions. Eddie is in the lead at 25. Woo, the chat's catching up. Sean, I used to keep Discus a while back and absolutely loved them. Absolutely loved them. But I ran into a problem with where I lived and the size of tank I could have. And so I figured I would go ahead and go into African cichlids. Talk about not doing your research. At any rate, I ended up with having to get what you see around me. Whip Swirl, that's an expensive shirt if I don't win. Oh my goodness. What's your total? What's your total, Whip Swirl? Adjust this chair here. I'm going to count on Whips World and on Eddie and the moderators to go ahead and send me an email of the total to ben.o.cichlid@gmail.com. CC Custom Leatherworks in the house. My Dragon Blood was reintroduced to the 90. The Skittles Peacock calmed down, and he's back in the fold. Hey, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. You know how many times I took Skittles out of the 210 and put him back in? So frustrating because he was an absolutely beautiful OB. Now I find out, after all these years, someone gave me a tip. They said, look, when you have OBs, have several of them, like 4, 5, 6, have several of them, and they will be into like going after each other, and they'll leave all the other fish alone. But that many will keep them so distracted that they're just not going to be that destructive. So if I get into OBs again, and James knows this because we had this discussion, if I get another Skittles, it'll be with some other OBs, and I'll end up with, I mean, don't you think 5 or 6 OBs would look good in this tank behind me? Just to add a little bit of dash, a little bit of flash of color. Eddie, I thought you were all done. Eddie went through the couch and found some change. Oh my goodness. Whip Swirl, darn you, Eddie. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right. Looks like Eddie went through the couch too, Whip Swirl. Fishaholic, how would you figure out who the killer is? I'll tell you, Fishaholic, sometimes it's hard because they kill when you're not looking. See, you come up to the tank and you become the alpha. You become the alpha fish. You become a distraction because they think you're going to feed them. And in some cases, they'll continue the antagonism just to clear out space to eat. But very often, they'll knock it off and just be interested in whether or not you're going to put food in the tank. So you almost have to turn the lights off but yet have enough light so you can see what's going on, and go hide in the corner and watch the tank. And I'll tell you, I used to have a 150-gallon in the bedroom in Arcadia, and sometimes in the middle of the night we get woken up by all the splashing and banging against the glass and the decor, and they're chasing each other in total darkness. Another reason why you don't want to have sharp objects, decor with sharp edges in your aquarium, especially if you have antagonistic fish, because they dart around and they'll score their eye and then they get an infection. It doesn't clear up. The infection spreads to other fish, or they lose the eye. So avoid, if you can, decor with sharp edges. Whip Swirl. Whip Swirl went out to the car and found some change between the car seats. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Ricky DeHoy is in the house. Hey, Ricky. Good to see you, buddy. Mr. Abigard had a message retracted. What does that mean? And Peas and Haps. Great job, Whipster. Luke Biba. Ben, are you going to Aquashella, Chicago? I've pretty much up. Carrie's back in. With $1.50. I've pretty much decided that Orlando is going to be my Aquashella go-to, only because of, for a variety of reasons. One is my granddaughter. I don't like being away from my granddaughter. We're in a very cuteness overwhelmed period that I don't want to miss, and also the cost and expense of getting to these shows. It's about $1,000 adventure. So I think I'll be sticking to Orlando once a year, and that'll be my go-to. And Sean is spouting words of wisdom. It works until it doesn't. And that is, if you keep cichlids, those are words to live by, because, and you've got to be ready. Have a backup tank, right? Have a tank ready to go. Have a couple filter cartridges extra in the sump or in your hang-on back or inside the canister that you can pull out and drop in and instantly cycle another tank. You just got to have that available when you keep cichlids, because if that little switch in their brain flips, you're off to the races, and you've got to be able to handle it very, very quickly. All right, let's see here. Whips World, $1.99. Carrie comes back in with $1.50. Oh man, this is a battle. I don't think I'll end this live stream. I'll just keep going. Let you folks keep. I'll let it keep running, and I'll just go off and do something and come back. Oh, Chris G, who's in the lead? I don't know, Chris. I don't know. Whip Swirl, that's very tempting. That's very tempting. Great people everywhere, right? Chicago, I'd have a blast. I'd have a blast in Dallas. You know, I always love running into people, and all I know is your YouTube name. So they come up to me and go, "Hey man, I'm Whip's World." It's like, whoa, yeah, I'm Vibes Aquatics. Anyway, just so much fun to put a face with those names. And if there was a way, I would. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe. And Sean, I am going to do some discus research. I'm going to follow your advice. Mr. Abelgard, I bought some rainbow fish for my South American tank. They look excellent and school nice. I'm aware they come from another continent. Though rainbow fish are beautiful. I love rainbows. And really, really pretty. What do you guys think about giant danios? I'm seeing giant danios everywhere now. Another fish that is very impressive and schools well. Luke Biba, there's a place called the Fish Factory in Wisconsin. I'm not aware of that place. You should take some video. Take some video and post a YouTube video. If you don't have a channel already, you can start one. Salient Aquatics, I think that would be a little bit of a witch's brew. Tiger barbs are notoriously nippy, and they might nip those Mabuna until the Mabuna don't like it anymore, and then they would destroy those tiger barbs. So I wouldn't. Plus, you have fish that need very different parameters. That's why I used you as an example, Vibes, because I loved it when you came up to me in Orlando. You're right, Deborah. Having extra setups is not a bad idea, and with any kind of fish, even if it's just as a hospital tank, because who doesn't need a hospital tank from time to time? With cichlid keepers, just to pull out that fish that got beat up, and you know, I don't know why there isn't Dan Code. I don't know why there isn't an Aquashella in California. I do know that San Francisco has lost a lot of its convention traffic just because of the 60,000 homeless population that have tents and are all over the downtown area. They have lost millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in convention traffic because of it. So you combine a massive homeless population with a defunding of law enforcement, and what could go wrong? What could go wrong? At any rate, that might be one of the reasons. It's very difficult right now in California. The cost and also the safety factor of the attendees is a concern. Whip's World, Carrie would be willing to chauffeur you around. Hey, I'd love to be in the back of a Harley, man. I love Harleys. The Frank Vieira, when I was in Aquashella, he took me around. He drove me around and ended up taking me out for a big Puerto Rican meal. It was awesome. Emin, I just put giant danios in my big tank. Cichlids and clown loach, much more active since introducing the danios. Yeah, let me know how that goes. Let me know if they end up surviving and doing well. Well, that's interesting. The Aquashella, Whip says that the Aquashella people are from, their roots are in Chicago and Dallas. That makes sense. Peas and haps forever. You're the best. Thanks, buddy. See you again soon. Phoenix in the winter. Phoenix is nice. I like Phoenix. And I, every time I've gone there, I'm going to go back there. I want to go visit the Cichlid Shack again. And, you know, that facility he has is with those giant tubs and the automation and the high-end dehumidifiers. And I just want to, you know, go back and see how it's evolving. And also I want to see how his personal show tank, which he's going to be putting in the front of the shop, I think it's 300 gallons, at least 300 gallons. I want to see how that looks after he stocks it. He's been growing out some very special fish that he has in a secret tub in the back, and I really want to see how that tank ends up. All right. Be careful, Ben. You might make some snow. Oh, my goodness. Salient Aquatics. What's your favorite food? Fish food? You don't want to ask me what my favorite food is, because it would take you 30 minutes. I love a lot of different kinds of food. And my favorite kind of fish food, man, I love Extreme, and I love Pisce Energetics. I love Sarah. I think those are companies that have put a lot of thought and a lot of research into their food, and I see nothing but great results. We're having a substrate conversation regarding Jerry's tank. You can't go wrong with black, Jerry. Just put a wave maker in there to kind of sweep it up once a day for a few hours. Just kind of sweep the substrate into the filters, and it'll look great. If you have aragonite that's white, you can add black sand. Salient Aquatics, your food. Love Italian food. Love Italian food. Love Puerto Rican food. For those of you who don't know Puerto Rican food, it is so tasty. A lot of garlic, cilantro, onions. Very tasty. But I do want to say this. Someone made a comment earlier today about this live stream, and I got to stay true to it. One of the reasons people like this live stream is because we stay on point. And in other words, we keep everything fish related. And for that reason, I would not get too in detail on food, family, fish. No, yes, on fish. Food, family, sports, things like that. And this is not a knock on YouTubers who like to do that. They just have a different sort of theme on their channels. That's totally okay. Totally okay. There's a place on YouTube for everybody, and I like to keep it about fish. That's just how I roll. So, at any rate, oh man, Ricky de Hios, arroz con habichuela, yes, and arroz con pollo. What can I say? Se me hace la boca agua. All right. That's it. Let's stop talking about food. It's lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. My stomach is growling. I'm going to go eat. You go eat or go have some fun with your family. You are the best. Love you all. And somebody, one of the moderators, send me an email. Tell me who won. And if you think you won, send me an email to ben.o.cichlid@gmail.com, and we will arrange to get you a channel t-shirt. Thank you, my friends. You are the best. I'll see you in a week. Take care, and that's it for me. Bye-bye.